Hello, I'm Lisa Bowerman and I play Bernie Summerfield, and welcome to Audio Heads Podcast.
Record on this computer. There we go. Hello and welcome to Audio Heads, a product of Geeks Assembled. We enjoy listening to adventures and mysteries and a bit of gothic stuff today and reviewing them for you. This is our podcast about The Invisible Man, starring the recently departed John Hurt. We love John Hurt, and he was a great war doctor. But in this one, he plays sort of a scoundrel. Anyway, a mad scientist scoundrel guy. So, yeah, I've got four fellas here who are willing and able to review with me. So let me start off with Texas Tim. What did you think of Invisible Man?
I thought it was really good. I'm not really that familiar with the novella. I've never read it. I vaguely recall seeing bits of the movie over the years. But I thought it was a pretty interesting tale of a guy that's kind of slowly going mad. I mean, because he starts out not in the present. It starts out, I don't know. It's kind of tricky because there's a whole big portion of the story that's told in flashback, and I'm gonna have to get back to you.
All right, that's fine. Let's move over to Geoffrey, to Beef Dad in Germany. Please, sir, let us know what you think.
I remember reading the story when I was in my teens. Yeah, I love it. It's a brilliant story, and it's been superbly adapted by Big Finish. And what a cast they put together for it. I mean, John Hurt. John Hurt is absolutely brilliant at playing these tortured souls. You just have to listen to this. He was tortured as the war doctor, a tortured soul as the war doctor. And in the award-winning I, Claudius, he was absolutely incredible as Caligula, another tortured soul. But yeah, he's going to be sorely missed because that man was just so talented. Yeah, loved the adaptation. Really did enjoy it. It's very well done, and it's got a couple of my favourites in it. So I was a very happy bunny.
Well, thank you very much, Bunny. That's yet another nickname. Anyway, let's go back to Tim. Please do continue.
Well, I thought it was a really cool kind of story. Sometimes it would go a bit B-movie, but that's to be expected. It's kind of hard to tell a proper story with just audio and no pictures, and they did a very good job with it. I like the way that he spends a good part of the story explaining what he's done and giving you the whole scientific explanation of what he's accomplished with his trickery. It's a bit brutal because it's all about what he did with a cat, and I'm pretty sure that left a lot of listeners a bit disturbed because I find it disturbing. I'm not even a cat owner, but it was very well told. I mean, of course, you've got John Hurt, who's an amazing actor, especially amazing voice actor. I mean, which is not something he's always done, but I mean, he does have that amazing voice that has a lot of power to it when he's telling a story. And I love the way, as the story moves along, you can tell the guy's just going a little bit more and more insane. And you're not sure it's because of the process he's been through or what exactly it is. But to be fair, I don't know what his intention was. At the end of the day, he just ends up running around stealing things because he's invisible. And that's kind of cool. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, what was his intention for doing all this? And it ends up being a moot point because they end up killing him. And of course, some guy inherits the paperwork and it may happen again. You never know. But I thought it was a cool story. Classic.
Awesome. Lee, what do you think? Lee Wilson, are you there? Okay, Alex, what did you think of this?
Hello, I'm here. Yeah.
Go for it, Lee.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry about the picture was frozen. So, I thought this was a very good adaptation of the book. I mean, I remember reading the book years ago, and I totally agree with what Tim and Beef Dad have said. It's a great story of a man's obsession leading him into insanity, really. The performances are just wonderful. Big Finish really know how to get the right cast together for what they do. Loved every minute. I mean, it was about two hours long, but it was well worth the listen. It just kept me enthralled all the way through. So, and if that does that, it's doing the job right for me personally. Yeah, it was a damn good play, shall we say?
Thank you, Lee. How about you, Alex? What do you think of this?
Well, of course, John Hurt is extremely good, always has been, and he's obviously that's part of his acting is his voice, and it did have a very good cast. I thought the story could be tighter. I have read the novella a long time ago. I've seen movie versions. I've seen different TV versions. I've seen, many different, versions they've done from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and all that. It is a little long, but it's very good. It's very English. I like that. It's a good story. It's a Gothic story. Of course, it also covers the dilemma in science fiction as well as literature that, the more power you have or the older you get or the more you go through things in life, a lot of people will possibly get bitter or nasty or, make their own morals as opposed to following what society says. But it's a very good story, and I enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. I really myself found it incredibly delightful. I mean, he started off as a really as sort of a waif character. As he walks into the inn and he lays it out. I'm gonna need some time to myself to be by myself. I need heat and I need rest, and so through that sort of his need-based thing, he went to a place of I thought of waifdom, and then he as he explained himself, and as the other his accomplice kicked in, it was really interesting. The narrator was his accomplice and his storyteller, and that was amazing, and he had no indignation or no sense of I'm better than this man because I feel this conflict or whatever. But that was it was really interesting, and then his thievery was it was hilarious. It was actually quite enjoyable. It was kind of like a romp in the middle, listening to him rip off all these stores and people and stuff, and develop, and then the science of it, the refraction and reflection and the coefficients of those, and the whole development of his serum, and it was really interesting. It was like an optics discussion in the middle of it. So it had its nerdy points through that, and then it had its great graceful points through his connection with this other fellow, and it was really brilliant. And I just was wondering, anybody have any favorite moments? Let's go back to Tim Wells first, and then.
Well, I think it's interesting that the story is actually told by a couple of characters as well. I mean, I think that's why the story actually kind of starts out after some of the events that they recount later. And that's kind of interesting. I think if I had a favorite part of the story, it's when he's recounting what he did for the experiment, which was not only, a kind of a drawn out scientific explanation, which may or may not make sense. I mean, this is fiction after all, but just the way he just tells the story. I mean, he's recounting what he did, and it's not really spelled out. It's more often implied that he's slowly and surely going insane because of the experiments. Because by the end of it, he's a bit of a raving lunatic. So it's just very well done, and of course it's because of the actor John Hurt who really pulls this off. It's pretty much a kind of a monologue throughout the middle where he's explaining this. It's very well done. It's very spooky. Like I said, the bit with the cat is really disturbing, and it's kind of makes your blood go cold. I mean, when you're listening to it, and that's effective. That's an effective horror story. I mean, if they can pull that off, and they do it well. So, if I had a favorite part of the story, I would say it would be that part where he's recounting what he's done.
Cool. How about you, Geoffrey?
Well, I'm with Tim on that. On the John Hurt sort of basically soliloquy. And this seems to be a basis of H.G. Wells, because you had exactly the same thing with the time machine. When he goes back and recounts to them what happened, recounts to his friend what happened. And these things work brilliantly if you've got the right person doing the part. And you could not ask for anybody better than John Hurt doing this. Claude Rains did it in the film, but John Hurt is absolutely brilliant audio-wise. That man really had that sort of voice. My other favourite part, and this might surprise you, is the part at the end, the final demise of the Invisible Man, where he's actually surrounded and torn apart by the crowd. I remember when I read it in the book, I was thinking, God. But they did it brilliantly on the audio. I mean, my blood ran cold while that was happening. And those moments. And of course, Mrs. Hall, the landlady. What a brilliant performance that was. Because she seems to be in control of everything, and then it all starts to go the wrong way on her. And Annette Badland, what a performance from her! Superb. I love the woman. I'm really looking forward to meeting her in October. But yeah, that and the death of the Colonel. It's funny, all the bits that really grabbed me in this are the deaths. The death of the Colonel was just amazing. It was just the whole thing is done so brilliantly, and you just got so totally, completely involved, and that's the magic. That is totally the magic of Big Finish. Involvement.
Thanks. We'll have to wait on Lee's response. Do you have a favorite moment?
Well, like I said, I mean, John Hurt is wonderful. Of course, he carries it, and that's why he's there. We've mentioned Tortured Souls. We've mentioned Insanity. There's a little bit of Gothic. There's more than a little bit of Gothic. There's sort of a science fiction fantastical element. There's the great cast that he, has to deal with, the landlady and what, the handyman or detective or whatever. And so, that's part of the the style that H.G. Wells did and other people imitated, and they've tried to imitate on TV shows to greater or lesser effect. And as I said, depending on the Invisible Man and which version you get. But yeah, it's the same. It's the tortured soul. It's the way that the power changes the character. It's the way that they relate depending on the setting and the time. Here it seems Victorian maybe, or Edwardian, which is when the original story's based. And of course, John Hurt knows how to act. He knows how to be a tortured soul. He knows how to be a gentleman. He knows how to, he knows how to project, and that's wonderful. That's why he was a great actor. So, I mean, basically, I would say, they knew. John Hurt basically carries it. He's supposed to, does a wonderful job. And hopefully he'll inspire other people to do even half of his performance.
Did you like the Claude Rains version?
Yeah, I did. Like I said, I've seen so many versions that it's hard to pinpoint everything. Like I said, he did do a good job for the movie version. And again, it depends on what decade you're in. I mean, there was a 1960s version with a lot of people from Doctor Who and a lot of Doctor Who cast. But then getting back to what Beef Dad and Tim said about Big Finish, I mean, they're doing a really wonderful job in the writing and the cast and the way that they read the lines. It's like watching an opera. It's like watching a radio show, an opera, and a book at the same time, or listening to it, I should say. But then you can see it in your mind, and in a way that's watching it or imagining it. And they should actually, it's too bad they can't do any animation or any movie adaptations or TV, because I think it might actually be better than what a lot of people are doing on television now.
Thanks. It's we're not gonna have the chance to talk about the stuff with Lee right now. Is there anything that you, any other open, I'll just open the floor, anything you guys want to discuss about this in the round?
Well, I'll just say, as busy as Big Finish are, I think it's great that they're doing these adaptations of classic stories. Like they've got a whole, this is the first in a whole range of H.G. Wells stories they're adapting, which is really clever and very good. Good for them. Good on them, because they're doing something that I think is important. I mean, I know that BBC Radio probably does these, or Channel 4 or whatever does a lot of audio for radio and whatnot. But I mean, that's you don't always have access to that, especially where I am. So I mean, this is an opportunity to experience some good classics done very well by a very good company, and they can do this because of all the Doctor Who they're selling. So that's a good thing. It's good for everybody.
Yeah, as I've said before with the Big Finish audios, it's the creation of the atmosphere. And the atmosphere that they created in his room when he was telling his story to Kemp, that was just absolutely incredible. You felt like you were in the room with them, eavesdropping. And at any moment, he may turn around and say, "What the hell are you doing here?" It was just extraordinary.
Yeah, Lee, would you please give your favorite moments and then anything else you'd like to say about it? I was hoping that you'd come back. It's good.
Oh, do you know, technology, internet tonight is just not my friend. I absolutely loved John Hurt in this as Griffin, was just brilliant. And Annette Badland as, was it Mrs. Halls? Yeah, whatever she does is just awesome. She was just wonderful. She was like only in the first act. I loved her character. I just loved just the way it was his journey into insanity. He was going insane, and the experiment with the cat, and it jumped out the window and was never seen again, shall we say. But a lot of people were puzzled with the meowing coming from the drain, but they couldn't see anything. Yeah, it's just it's the downfall of the guy. He had, and then at the end as well, the other person who was sort of telling the story wants Griffin's formula to become the next Invisible Man. It's I remember the book I read years ago, and they've stuck closely to it. Not as the film with Claude Rains was totally sort of different to the book, but still a classic. But I loved everything about this. My favourite bits was with John Hare. Any scene with John Hare and Ed Badland, they're just, those two sort of steal it for me.
All right, let's go around and rate this classic gothic horror brilliant story. I'm going to start with Alex. Alex, what did you think of Invisible Man, and could you rate it, please?
Yes, if you're not going to read the book, then I definitely would give it a 9. If you are going to read the book, I'd still give it an 8. And wonderful performances, gothic, fantastical, well done, well acted. You're right there. Your imagination just takes you right with the story, and that's what it's supposed to do.
Thank you. Beef Dad?
Because of that, because of the fact that they drew you in and you were there and you were aware of what was going on. And by the way, I have read the book. The fact that they can do that to your mind with brilliant cast, a brilliant script, superb adaptation, it gets a 10.
Thank you. Wow, great. Okay, Lee, please, before we lose you again.
It's, as I say, it draws you in. You're there. The imagery is there. Who needs moving pictures when you've got Big Finish? They create the imagery for you. Say the cast, the ensemble cast, just awesome. John Hare and Ed Badland, love them to bits. John Hare sorely missed now. It's a damn good retelling of a tale. I'm going to give this a 9.5.
9.5. Thanks, Lee. And Tim, what do you think?
Well, I agree with both of you gentlemen. I think there was 1 or 2 scenes that I thought could have been better, though, done audio-wise. So I'm going to go with a 9.5 as well. I'd say it's a near-perfect adaptation, though, and I wasn't familiar with the story going into it. And I thought they did a bang-up job. I think especially the casting, like everybody has pointed out, the cast's amazing. But again, I wasn't expecting the psychological horror type bits that they managed to pull off so effectively that Jeff brought up a couple of times as well. And I think it just, like I said, there were a couple of moments there. I'm listening to it at work, wandering around doing things, and it just made me kind of stand still and go, "Oh shit, that's heavy." So it gets a 9.5 for me. It was great. It was a great experience of a classic story. So awesome.
Thank you, Tim. And I'll give it a 9.5 as well. I was blown away. I've listened to it now like 3 or 4 times. I am thrilled by this, and I'm really glad that they're doing the H.G. Wells series. and I'm really glad that it's and the point is with the Invisible Man is that with an Invisible Man story, you don't need to see it. To hear it is it's good. I mean, to read it is good. You don't need, especially when the people are invisible. They don't need to be seen. You don't need no stinking video for any of this. So anyway, and I like the fact that we prior to this we reviewed the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, who had the Invisible Man in the Griffin was in the mix. So we're carrying on through themes and through characters and through people here at Geeks Assembled. It will never be a bad idea for you to subscribe, to watch all of our podcasts, because you'll see that there's some threads that run through all of what we're doing here, and all of us are geeky, and all of us have good knowledge. I'm really grateful to Alex and Geoffrey and Lee and Tim for being here with me today, and I hope that you're looking forward to next week. We may go back to, or in a fortnight, we maybe go back to Iris Wildtime, or we'll maybe do the Avengers or one of those. We're going to decide. Well, if you'd like to, what you'd like us to review or to involve ourselves with, please let us know in the comments below. And also, if you'd be so kind as to share this around, that would be also great. It would be fantastic for us. And do join us in our Facebook group, the Geeks Assembled Facebook group. Love to have you. All nerds from all walks are totally welcome. And so grateful and please return in 2 weeks, in a fortnight. Would love to see you again here on Geeks Assembled. Bye-bye.